Delve into the details of the stories we have for you this evening, and we are starting from issues having to do with the courts, because a private citizen has petitioned the Criminal Investigations Department, the CID, to probe the Supreme Court Justice Yonny Kulendi and his cousin Richard Jakpa over alleged attempts to interfere with the prosecution of a high-profile trial, according to the petition cited by 3FM. The petition filed by Daniel Mafu Oforiata relates to the case of the Republic versus case Ato Forson and two others, which commenced in January 2023. According to the petition, the alleged interference began on the day the accused persons were first arraigned before court on the 18th of January 2023. The petitioner claims that Mr. Jakpa sought the intervention of his cousin, Justice Yonny Kulendi, to secure assistance from the Attorney General Godfred Dame to facilitate his release despite not having met the conditions of bail. The petition further alleges that Justice Kulendi directly interfered in the release of Richard Jakpa. So that's the information we have got, and let's try and find out from a private legal practitioner what exactly this means, and could it in any way affect the current issues of how lawyers and their relatives can relate. Martin Pebu is a private legal practitioner. He's joined us on phone for a quick chat. Counsel, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Yes, good evening. Evening, sir.
Right.
Is this Martin?
Yes, this is Martin.
Okay, all right. Good.
Right. From where you sit and from the legal standpoint, how serious are these allegations in the petition, especially that it is citing a Supreme Court judge?
Yeah, that's very serious. It's extremely serious. So it tells you that citizens are beginning to assert their rights more and more than previously. Because, to be honest, maybe because the story is still unfolding, I was like, so which specific crime is the citizen looking at? That's the thing. So maybe, when stories unfold, it takes some time, especially as we haven't seen the exact copy of the petition. So, if you see the person's direct words, his direct statement, then sometimes it influences how you understand the case. Because for now, I'm like, okay, the interference, I'm struggling a bit. But so right now, your case, thankfully, your question is not about which specific crime, right? But even the very nature of the petition itself. It tells you that citizens are becoming more assertive. It's okay. It's okay. It's within our rights because, for a very long time, we usually have been very reticent and very differential to authority. So that we pay too much respect to people in high authority. We don't like to hold them to account because they say, hey, like in Treve, hey, we need to make me actually manson. We need to make me actually manson. So to transliterate, can you litigate with this very powerful person? It's not only in Ghana, all over the world it happens. Sometimes we fail to compare well. Today in the UK, in the US, etc., there are people who are scared to take on powerful people in society because of fear of victimization, right? So, and we are even far less developed because here it's more difficult to find a job generally, etc. So when you find people willing to take powerful people on, then it tells you that it takes extra courage because a lot of people you meet, they often don't want to talk about people in authority for the first reason that hey, if I get sacked from my workplace, what will I eat?
Right.
But in the advanced countries, a lot of them, even if you don't work, there is even unemployment benefits that you get. Yet people there are even scared to take on powerful people. Okay? So to the extent that a citizen wants to hold these two persons accountable, it is their right. It is their right. Nobody can take it away from them.
Yeah, but
so
Counsel,
let's see how the investigations pan out.
And could it be? What do you make of suggestions that it could be in reaction to Richard Jakpa's petition? He's also petitioned the CID against former Attorney General Godfred Dame. Could it be that people are also reacting to that, or the petition is a reaction to Richard Jakpa's earlier petition against Godfrey Dami?
Okay, I see the connection now. Yeah, so if that is it, sure, why not? As I said, they say, I mean, yes, when you take on, that's meaning that, like we say, we like this favorite saying in Ghanaian English. Well, we borrowed it from the English people, that people who live in glass houses do not throw stones, right? So that's it. So if you live in a glass house and you like throwing stones, be sure somebody will throw one at yours and your house may get shattered as well. Well, I mean, that is not a reason why I can rubbish this particular petition. No, it's not within my place. Even if it's a retaliation, well, what can we do?
Right.
We cannot say because it's a retaliation, then we would poo-poo it or say that this particular petition by Daniel Mafo, right? That's the name I saw, Daniel Mafo.
Yes.
It's not worth the paper on which it is written. No. So if it's also petitioned because Jakpa petitioned against Godfrey Dami, okay, sure. Let the investigations go on, and then we would see how it pans out.
Okay.
It's within his constitutional rights to express himself and to ask for accountability.
And finally, how should we relate to relatives who are lawyers, or in this case, judges at a very high court, as in at the Supreme Court? You have a case. Is it that the law does not allow you as a family member to even seek advice on how to approach a case from a relative who is in a superior court because there is a likelihood of an issue of conflict of interest? Like, I mean, you are a family member, Mr. Kwebu, and then someone is suing me, or I am suing someone, and by virtue of you being a judge, I cannot come to you because the case might come to your desk or might come to you as a judge to superintend over it. How do we maneuver around the issues of relations, relatives, and legal issues?
Okay, so the first thing is that for a relation close enough, okay, not just that we come from the same village, but if the relationship is close enough, then even from the get-go, there's no way that judge will be allowed to sit on that case when it eventually gets to the court in which that judge sits. So let's say this particular case was mentioned. So if, let's say, Justice Kulendi in the Supreme Court, from what we know from the Jakpa tape saying that they are related, then it means that if a case came to the Supreme Court and it involved Jakpa or any other relation of Justice Kulendi, the conflict rules disbar him, or let's say debar him instead of disbar, debar him from sitting on it because of the conflict rules. So generally, unless the judge is not, it's not allowed. Even if people don't know, because we have a very strong society, things leak. Okay, so even if people are not aware, generally the judge will decline because he knows that maybe tomorrow it will leak, and the moment it leaks, it's going to be a huge embarrassment and may even lead to the an Article 146 proceedings against that judge if it's in a superior court, okay, or also a petition for the removal of the judge, also under the Constitution. That one goes to the Judicial Council, etc. Yes, so the conflict rules don't allow a judge to sit in a case involving a relation. So from that perspective, it means that even if the judge was to talk to his relation, and you cannot also say that a judge should not talk to his relation because the relation is in trouble.
Okay.
Once the judge makes contact with his relation, the conflict rules, even if nobody knows, debar the judge from having anything to do with the case. So on that score, for now, it appears difficult to me to say that a relation cannot inform his this other relation who is a judge about a case.
Okay.
The main thing is that if that judge hears it, he should have nothing to do with the case. But he cannot also, the ethics rules, as far as I can remember, I don't remember them saying that the judge should not give support to his relation. So let's say, Martin, if your dad was a Supreme Court judge, touch wood, and then you have a case, then they will say that because of the conflict rules, your dad can't even talk to you. When you require support, no, he would first, his family first. He has to stand by you, and if so far, so make sure that he doesn't get anywhere near the case. So that's where the conflict is.
Right.
So there is no conflict if he listens to you as his son, as his cousin, as his brother, sister, etc. But the conflict starts when he attempts to now influence the system. Yes, that's where the thing is. Because your question was that should the judge listen and support the relation? Exactly. That one, I think from what we're saying, no law can stop him from supporting the relation in terms of emotional support, psychological support, financial support, etc. But the forbidden area is now seeking out to help the person in terms of influencing the system to make the case easier or to make the case a foolish case. Okay.
I'm so grateful for your time this evening, and thank you so much for your thoughts on these issues as always.
You're welcome.
We've been hearing the voice and thoughts of Martin Kpebu, who is a private legal practitioner and was giving us some legal perspectives to this news that we got earlier today, having to do with a petition filed by a private citizen to the CID, asking them to probe a Supreme Court judge, Justice Yonny Kulendi, who is cousin, we are told, to Richard Jakpa. Now, for those of you who may not know, Richard Jakpa was part of an ongoing trial that has to do with the Republic versus Ato Forson and two others. And it has to do also, on that case, Ato Forson, who is the current finance minister, was on trial for some ambulances that were imported into the country, and it had its own key controversies. So it ran the full court case for several years, I should say. And at the end, when the current administration came into power, in fact, probably before this administration even came, it looked as though that the accusers or those who had taken the case to court as a state could not provide enough evidence to prosecute the then minority leader. He was also minority leader, Ato Forson, that is. And Richard Jakpa specifically had a special issue with the then Attorney General, Godfred Dame, where he came out with some level of evidence to allude to the fact that Godfred Dame did what is called in legal terms witness tampering, where we are told by Richard Jakpa that the then Attorney General tried to coerce him to feign sickness or to answer questions in a particular way so that it will help him, the Attorney General, pursue the case further and ensure that Ato Forson, the then minority leader, faces the full rigors of the law, or at least is sanctioned. But it turns out that the revelation by Richard Jakpa sort of made the entirety of the case quite murky, had different legal perspectives on the issue. So it has become quite controversial, and now that the case is out of court, Richard Jakpa decided to sue the Attorney General, and we are told as of today that a private citizen has also decided to sue Yonny Kulendi and his cousin Richard Jakpa for alleged attempts to interfere with the prosecution of the Ato Forson case. So a lot of intertwined issues are playing out here. We'll definitely keep you posted to see how the CID will be approaching this issue in terms of investigations. And if you consider the final question I asked private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu, is it that if you have a relative as a judge, you should not or cannot speak to him if you have a legal case? To what extent are you barred from engaging a relative if they are in a position to advise you or at least guide you on how to approach a particular case? You can also let us hear what this issue means to you or how you would react to it on our Facebook page where we are streaming. So do me a favor by logging on to our YouTube page and our Facebook page. Post a comment and we'll be happy to share it as the show goes on. This is 3FM on 92.7. It is a hot edition. We are shifting our attention to some key political issues now.